As he noticed my questioning glances, Sherlock Holmes shook his head with a smile. Beyond the obvious fact that he has at some time done manual labor, that he takes snuff, that he is a Freemason, that he has been in China, and that he has done a considerable amount of writing lately, I can deduce nothing else, Holmes said.
But how did he know all of that?
He could figure it out just by looking at the man.
That's what made Sherlock Holmes the greatest detective in the world. The greatest detective in the world? You're talking about me again.
Actually, Peter, we were talking about Sherlock Holmes and his friend, Dr. John Watson.
Sherlock Holmes could solve any crime ever.
And Dr. Watson was his closest friend. He wrote down all their adventures.
I've never heard of this detective, but I seriously doubt that he could be better than me.
Peter, why don't you just listen to the story? You might actually enjoy it.
Yes, read it. Another one, Wendy. Go ahead, Wendy. Let's hear about this Dr. Holmes and Sherlock Watson.
Peter, that's Dr. Watson and Sherlock Holmes. Let's see. Here we go. The Hound of the Baskervilles. Another adventure of Sherlock Holmes written by Arthur Conan Doyle. There stood a foul thing, a great black beast shaped like a hound, yet larger than any hound that ever mortal eye has rested upon. As it turned its blazing eyes and dripping jaws upon them, the three shrieked with fear and rode for dear life.
This is great! But what does it have to do with Sherlock Holmes?
I'll get to it, Peter. Just keep listening.
Yeah, come on, Wendy. I want to hear about the Hound of Baskerville.
That's the Hound of the Baskervilles, Michael. Or as Conan Doyle, Dr. Watson put it. The barren scene, the sense of loneliness, and the mystery and urgency of my task all struck a chill into my heart. There rose suddenly out of the vast gloom of the moor that strange cry. It came with the wind through the silence of the night. A long, deep mutter, then a rising howl, and then the sad moan in which it died away.
Good heavens! What's that, Watson?
I don't know. It's a sound they have on the moor. Never in the delirious dream of a disordered brain could anything more savage, more appalling be conceived than that dark form and savage face which broke upon us out of the wall of fog. Never have I seen a man run as Holmes ran that night. I'm reckoned fleet of foot, but he outpaced me.
Holmes, help!
No, just fly, there, fly! I don't understand why he doesn't just fly out of the dog's reach.
Peter, Dr. Watson can't fly, and neither can Sherlock Holmes.
Can't fly? Then what kind of detective could he possibly be?
Peter, Sherlock Holmes solved his crimes through cunning and logic and simple deductive reasoning.
That's right. It was elementary. My dear Pen?
Peter, we're trying to enjoy a story here. If you can't sit still and listen, why don't you just get back to whatever it was you were doing?
A fine idea, John. Just what was it I was doing anyway? I was coming from the Indian village. Oh, I remember now. I came for my panpipe.
But Peter, your pipe is gone.
You're right. My panpipe, which was hanging on this peg, is definitely gone. So, this is mysterious indeed. A case worthy of the great Sherlock Holmes and his legendary powers of deduction and observation. Wouldn't you say? Watson, that's right. I shall be Holmes, and you shall be my Watson. You can tell everyone how I solved this great mystery. Now, we must apprehend the scoundrel and recover my purloined panpipe. Quickly. There's no time to waste. The game is a shoe.
You mean the game's afoot? I think this is a little silly, Peter.
Quiet, son. I think I hear a clue. John, don't move! It's Nico. He probably picked up Wendy's scent from us.
Who
Good thing he and Wendy are friends. Now, come on, Watson. Let's continue the case at hand. There. What do you make of this, Watson?
It's a footprint. Could have been made by anyone.
Not just anyone. The culprit who stole my panpipe.
But how do you know?
Look closer, Watson. The track is leading away from the underground house. And whoever made it was in a hurry. The distance between this footprint and the one over there is too long to have been made by anyone walking. Therefore...
He must have been running.
Brilliant reduction, Watson. If somewhat preliminary, given the obvious clues. Now, what else can you surmise about the brigand who stole my pipe?
Well, since the tracks are outside the underground house, maybe one of us is the culprit.
That's absurd. Watson, how could one of us leave footprints? We fly, don't we? Come on, Watson. I know who took the panpipe.
Rob the deck and clean the gun. Sharpen sword by setting sun. Another day of work is spent. While Captain Hook away he went. Yo ho, yo ho, yo ho, yo ho, yo ho. And on with pirates' work we go.
Good. We can search Hook's cabin while he's gone. We're in luck, Watson. I say, Watson, do try to avoid that sort of clumsiness.
Peter, Holmes, what are we doing here anyway?
Think about it, Watson. Whoever stole the panpipe must have an appreciation for music, right?
Right. But the footprint was too small for Captain Hook.
Tut, tut, Watson, I know that. But his bosun.
Mr. Smee!
Precisely. And what instrument does Mr. Smee play?
Why, he plays the pipe. The bosun's pipe.
Bravo, Watson. You have a keen sense of the obvious. The panpipe isn't here. But they've left behind this vital piece of evidence. All these marks make up a hidden message detailing the location of the purloined panpipe.
But this is only the music to a song called Ode to an Elven Grove.
That's just it, Watson. An elven grove is where elves live.
Yes, and?
And elves are what size?
Well, they're...
Right, they're small. And pray tell me, Watson, what day is today?
It must be... Let's see, it's Tuesday.
Brilliant. Today's Tuesday. So yesterday was Monday.
I get it. Small Monday Island. But where?
What kind of trees grow in an elven grove, Watson?
Beech trees?
Indubitably. So all we have to do is go to Small Monday Beach, and the panpipe is as good as ours.
Aye, lad. And it appears that you're as good as ours. She'll haul me for a barnacle's breakfast. We're finally gonna blow Peter Pan and one of his bilge rats to perdition.
Steady, Watson. When I give the signal, take to the air. Now!
I'll bring you down to earth in pieces.
Hey, what's he do? Blow the fighter's brains out.
Come on, Long Tom.
Come, Watson. I believe we've overstayed our welcome.
We got the little beggars now.
Peter, we're trapped.
Shipper me for a jellyfish.
Hurry, Watson. No time to wait. A bit too much powder is my deduction, Watson. Now, let's get to Small Monday Beach.
Make haste, you wretched curs. It's too hot to dig the Captain Hook's hole, Starkey.
Yes, it is a bit on the balmy side. But you know what they say, old chap? Only mad dogs and Englishmen go out in the midday sun.
Who's you calling Englishman? Belay the whistle, Smee. We're burying my treasure, not boarding it.
Oh, to be sure, Captain. Just piping the sun up to high noon. It looks like it worked again, too.
Your cerebral cortex is terminally concussed, Smee. The sun will reach its apex whether you pipe it there or not.
Oh, well, I'm thanking you for that, Captain. Oh, I could use the day off.
Holmes, Smee's bows and whistle doesn't even sound like your pipe. What are we doing here?
Solving the mystery, Watson. And as you can see, my dear fellow, I was right all along.
You were?
Of course. Quite obviously, Hook so treasures my panpipes that he not only stole them, but, knowing that I'd suspect and search his cabin, he secreted them on land until he could bury them here.
Holmes! That means Hook is Professor Moriarty.
Professor who?
Moriarty! Sherlock Holmes' mortal enemy. His nemesis. He's the most evil man in Neverland.
Capital, Watson. Moriarty he is.
You may remember that you buried this treasure, but if you value your barnacled hides, you better forget where.
Therein lies the solution to the case of the Purloined Panpipe, Watson. A treasure chest buried in the sand of Small Monday Beach.
But how are you ever going to get them back?
Elementary, my dear Watson. Well, Watson, we must dig up the treasure chest.
But how? We don't have any shovels.
Here, use this, Watson.
This won't work.
That's it.
I don't see how...
It's elementary, Watson. You can dig with that, Watson. We did it, Watson. We found it.
We? Shh, Peter. Holmes. Hook, Moriarty and his cutthroats might hear you.
Nonsense, Watson. At the rate those fools were rowing, they're miles away by now.
Holmes, Watson, how enchanting. As it happens, I, too, am conversant in the mysteries crafted by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Look lively, stubborn scum! If you, Pan, are Sherlock Holmes, and John here is Dr. Watson, then I must be...
Moriarty!
Precisely. The organizer of half that is evil and nearly all that is undetected in Neverland. A genius, a philosopher, an abstract thinker, with a brain of the first order. In short, the Napoleon of crime. And if you had one iota of the perspicacity of the real Sherlock Holmes, you might have surmised that I would row in a circle to make sure that I hadn't been watched. Smee, if memory serves, I gave you an order.
You did, sir? You did, sir. Just what?
Fill in the hole, Smee. Panpipe, Gall and brimstone, boy. No buccaneer worth his salt would have use for such frivolity. Least of all, Captain James Hook. The perfect way to start the day. Preserving my treasure and getting rid of Peter Pan. Pan! Or should I say, Holmes. You crossed my path on the winter solstice. On the last full moon, you incommoded me. By the summer equinox, I was seriously inconvenienced by you. And a fortnight later, I was absolutely hampered in my plan. The situation was positively unendurable. Until now. Enjoy the incoming time. It's one of nature's wonders.
This isn't quite crooked, Professor.
What do you expect us to do, Hook?
Do? boy. I expect you to be extirpated, eradicated, eliminated, annihilated. I expect you to expire, of course.
Peter, what's going to happen to us?
Get a bit damp, I'm afraid, Watson.
Me? Yo-ho, a treasure chest, very deep is buried best. Neath the sand without a trace, the skeletons to mark the place. Yo-ho, 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 yo-ho.
Think of something, Peter.
I already have, Watson. Hook's denial could simply be a ruse, and the pipes may very well be in the chest beneath our feet.
Not the pipes, Peter. How can we get out of this before we drown?
Oh, that. The solution is quite elementary, my dear one. I shall simply summon the mermaid. They'll stick us out with their tails.
But what if your pipes aren't in Hook's treasure chest? Can we still go home then?
Well done! A splendid job!
Yes, thank you for saving our lives.
We did it for Peter, not you.
I don't care who they did it for. I'm just glad they did it.
Just as I suspected. No panpipe. This is the final clue I needed, Watson.
It is?
Quite. This wraps it all up very neatly.
You mean we're finally going home?
Precisely, old boy. But first, get a grip.
We're gonna steal Hook's treasure?
Of course not. Even though Hook stole it in the first place, that wouldn't be honest. And Sherlock Holmes never does anything that's dishonest.
It'll be a sound sleep I have tonight, with my treasure safe and that mazy poltroon Peter Pan gone forever.
Begging the captain's pardon, sir, might I be asking a question I have in my head?
Permission granted, Smee. Not even the nitwitticisms of a nattering nabob of negativism can spoil this day.
Oh, to be sure, Captain. Oh, thank you, sir. I stand ready to serve in any capacity whatsoever.
Get on with it, Smee.
You're right, you are, Captain. I was just wondering, is there more than one Peter Pan?
Of course not, you squid-brained dolt. In fact, by now, there's not even one Peter Pan.
I feared mightily that was him up there.
Both hammer and tongs. Ah! And he's got my treasure. Ah! Come back with my treasure, or I'll hang you from the gallant cross trees and make a dance of polka on Johnny Blank.
But if we're not stealing the treasure, what are we gonna do with it?
Reward the mermaids, Watson. After all, they were of some assistance to us. Well, Watson, that concludes our business here.
It's not that I don't want to go home, but the mystery of the purloined panpipe, it still hasn't been solved.
Ah, but it has, my good fellow. It has. So, when I saw there was nothing in Hook's buried chest but treasure, I knew the answer to the mystery. For, you see, the treasure contained hundreds of precious stones. I immediately hearkened to the fact that outside this house there was a round, flat stone. This one, to be exact. Although it's not a precious stone, it is an important clue. What forms on this stone in the morning?
Morning dew?
Precisely, but only if the stone is shaded. And what would provide that shade? A leaf. And a leaf grows from a twig. What do we do with twigs? Use them for kindling, right? And who builds more fires than anyone else? Ta-da!
Here's your pipe, Peter. Thanks for loaning it to me.
As I was saying, the clues all led to one obvious and incontrovertible fact. That I loaned my panpipe to Hard to Hit.
and totally forgot.
It was elementary.
My dear Pan.